Usopp might be the biggest coward in One Piece, but there is a moment that shows how much he respects Luffy, and this happens at the end of Sabaody. Kizaru is standing over top of Zoro, and you can see the fear in Usopp's face. He is genuinely scared for his life right now. But then Luffy yells his name, and instantly Usopp snaps back into reality and aims at Kizaru. This is such a small moment, but it really shows a lot about Usopp and his respect towards Luffy. The Doro Doro no Mi is a paramecia type devil fruit that I feel like we all thought was a Logia at some point. This is the wax fruit, which was eaten by Mr. 3. He's able to create large quantities of candle wax and use it however he wants. This devil fruit is very powerful, and honestly I feel like Mr. 3's not getting the maximum use out of it. The wax is sticky and it can be hardened to do all sorts of different things. We see this on Whiskey Peak when Zoro and Nami get stuck, as well as Impel Down when he gives Luffy wax armor. Overall, I feel like this devil fruit can be very powerful, we just don't really see him use it like that. Zoro's not the dumbest person on the Straw Hat crew, but I also wouldn't say he's one of the smartest either. He has really good battle IQ, but everything else is just okay. And if you were to rank the Straw Hats by IQ level, I would say Zoro's in the middle somewhere. However, there was one time where I think he was smarter than everyone else. This was at the end of Jaya, right before Skypiea, after Usopp had done some upgrades to the Going Merry and made it look like a chicken. Zoro said it would have been better if it was a pigeon because chickens don't know how to fly. I gotta say, he's not wrong. There's an episode of One Piece where Whitebeard is delivered a note from Shanks, and this is the first time we get to see Whitebeard and his crew, but the entire crew just looks so different. Keep in mind, this was very early on. It was episode 151. It just kind of seems like at this point, Oda didn't want to introduce the rest of Whitebeard's crew because this kind of looks like Marco and this looks like Jozu, but nobody else is recognizable. Then on top of that, you have all these nurses around Whitebeard, which we don't really see again. It's just very odd compared to what you see at Marineford. Do you know why Kaido gave Doflamingo the nickname Joker? There's actually a pretty big meaning behind this. When you think about a deck of cards, you have the Jack, Queen, and King, which of course are names of Kaido's top subordinates. But in a card deck, you also have Jokers. And typically when you play cards, you take the Jokers out of the deck. So Doflamingo was nicknamed Joker because he isn't on the main crew. However, this still showed how powerful of an ally Kaido saw him as. There's a devil fruit that has not been shown yet in One Piece, but I think a lot of people want to see it. And that devil fruit is a bear Zoan devil fruit. And not just any bear like this mink, a ferocious grizzly bear or polar bear. It doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it looks cool. Because I think a bear devil fruit would be best if it was a bit scary, like Rob Lucci or Page 1 when they transform. I really hope at some point we see this. Considering we haven't seen it yet, it makes me worry, but I'm still holding out hope. Loyalty is one of the biggest things in One Piece, and the most iconic moment where we see that is in Thriller Bark, where Zoro takes Luffy's pain. But another great moment with a different vice captain happens to Killer during Wano. Killer absolutely hates how his laugh sounds, but still chose to eat a smile fruit that he knew would make him laugh all the time to get a chance at saving his captain, which is Kid. By making this choice, Killer chose to live with what he hates the most, but at the same time saving what he loves most, his captain. This isn't talked about often, but the Straw Hats are actually bad people. However, they're only bad depending on your ideals. Just think about the entire story so far. The amount of people the Straw Hats have probably killed by now is like in the thousands. Every time Robin snaps the neck of a Marine or Zoro slices a Marine, I swear in Impel Down, Luffy was just chucking people into lava. And then you also have Brook, Frankie, and Sanji, who definitely have bodies on them. Jinbei's now part of the crew, and he was a soldier and previous captain of his own crew. From an outside perspective, the Straw Hats probably seem like terrorists until you get to know them. I found this meme about Luffy that I just had to share with you because it's so true, and it's a picture of Superman and it says Luffy when someone hurts his friends. And we've seen this countless times throughout the show when someone hurts his friends and he goes like psycho mode to get his get back. But then the next image is also Superman and it says Luffy when someone is fighting his friends to the death but it's honorable, and it's just Superman smiling. This is so accurate, but it goes to show how much Luffy actually trusts his crew to get the job done, and I respect Luffy for respecting the 1v1s. He knows he needs to let his friends cook and have their moments. Did you know Commander Jonathan is a canon character? If you forgot who he is, this is the GOAT of the G8 filler arc, who is known as Akainu's best disciple, and everybody thinks he's just a filler character, but we do see him in a canon episode, and that episode is at the end of the Amazon Lily arc, where we see some Marines pulling up to Marineford, and it's only for a few seconds, but Commander Jonathan is one of those Marines, meaning he is canon. This devil fruit is perfect for a cop or a Marine because the user can bind their foes in iron shackles. This is the Ori Ori no Mi, a devil fruit eaten by Hina. Hina is a Marine officer and has the ability to create iron shackles from her body to subdue her opponents. We've seen this devil fruit in action a few different times. First at the end of Alabasta, and then later in Marineford when she tries to capture Luffy. Unlike a lot of other devil fruits, this isn't really offensive or defensive. It's mainly used just to capture people. How did Shanks become a Yonko? Because if the 4 Yonko system has been around for a while, that means there was a pirate that was a Yonko before Shanks. So Shanks either had to defeat this pirate to become a Yonko, and if he did defeat somebody else, is that someone that we don't know yet, or is it somebody that we have heard about? Honestly, I think there might have only been 3 Yonkos, that being Big Mom, Kaido, and Whitebeard, and then when Shanks got enough power, they just added a 4th. Kind of like after Whole Cake Island, Luffy was called the 5th Emperor of the Sea. Shanks just got added into the group of Yonkos because he was so strong. The One Piece 4 Kids dub was the most unhinged thing ever. Looking back on it, I have no idea how they made it over 100 episodes with this. I'm gonna ignore all the censorship and changes that they made because that's a completely different other video, but just the choice of voice actors and the dialogue they were given is absurd. This is Sanji's voice.
Such epic tragedy. Sigh, the obstacles between us are many and great.
Sorry to that guy if you're watching this video, but they put you in a bad position. Now I'm gonna show you a couple clips of just some crazy dialogue.
Listen to this pirate defending his lady. She's no lady, she's a liar, pants on fire.
I'm angry and I'm wet.
This show was crazy. Luffy's saving this secret technique for the next time he gets caught by the world government. He's only used this technique once and it was very effective at taking out Marines, and it was called Gum Gum Ally Robot. In this technique, Luffy wrapped his arms and legs around another Marine's arms and legs and used this to control the Marine and walk him around. The other Marines didn't attack Luffy because they didn't want to hurt their friend, so Luffy's gonna do this to one of the Gorosei next. A really cool devil fruit that has yet to be revealed is the Fua Fua no Mi. This paramecia type devil fruit allows the user to levitate and fly. It was eaten by Shiki the Golden Lion, who's a canon character but has not been seen canonically yet. We've only seen this devil fruit in action in the One Piece film Strong World, but I guarantee we see it at some point because Shiki is still alive and there's no way One Piece ends without him coming back and showing us this devil fruit. Throughout One Piece, we have only seen Zoro cry 3 different times. The first was in his flashbacks at his home village. We see him crying after he learned about Kuina's death, and then the second time is at the Baratier. After he loses to Mihawk, he's crying while he makes his promise to Luffy. And then the third and final time he cried was when he found out Granny Kokoro was a mermaid. Now that it's long past, can we talk about how Oda possibly fumbled the time skip? There were so many things that could have happened but didn't, and then other things that were introduced that we never saw again. The first person I want to talk about is Robin. Robin worked under Dragon for 2 years, and it seems like she learned no new information about the revolutionaries. On top of that, how was she not taught any forms of hockey? Then we have Frankie, who was sent to Vegapunk's old laboratory. He had 2 years to find out more about Vegapunk, and it's never mentioned a single time. And then Brook became a world-renowned pop star over the time skip. There should have been a gag or something where people recognize him, or he's asked for autographs from people. I feel like a lot more could have been done with the time skip. Some of the parallels that we're starting to see in One Piece are crazy, and the example I'm going to use today is Luffy after Marineford compared to Luffy and Wano. So after the Battle of Marineford, when Luffy is on Amazon Lily, we see him grieving for Ace and throw this little tantrum, and in that tantrum he says, "I'm so weak." But then fast forward all the way to the battle with Kaido, we see Luffy say, "This is my peak," instead of saying, "I'm so weak." Very small detail, but still a great parallel to show Luffy's growth. A secretly super destructive devil fruit is the Oshi Oshi no Mi. This is a paramecia type devil fruit that allows the user to freely move and shape the ground. We see its powers used by Morley, a member of the Revolutionary Army, and this could be a very powerful devil fruit. You can tunnel through the ground, and that's how they used it to enter Marie's Joie. And that's how the tunnels in Impel Down were formed as well. That was Morley who did that over 100 years ago. I can't imagine what Morley could do if this power was awakened, but I think it could be very destructive.